Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. You know when you go back to school after the summer break and you see people that you haven't seen the whole summer, whether you're on vacation, doesn't make a difference. You know, you look forward to seeing these people because you want to tell them about what you've been doing. You want to tell them about all the great things that have been going on with you and how much better you've gotten. And you just want to improve that next year. Well, that's basically been the theme coming into this season. I was looking for improvement. And I know it's opening night, but I'm looking for improvement. Signs of improvement. Something that I can look for and go, okay, this got better. That got better. They need to work on this, or he's clearly been working on that. And this is going to improve even more than what it already has. And I saw that with Jason Tatum last night. I saw a more active defender. I saw a livelier defender. I think he's going to make the All-League defensive team this year. I still think that he falls in love a little bit too much with the long ball. I think that's a part of his game. But I think he falls in love with it a little bit too much in the aspect that he could get better shots than he's getting when he shoots the long ball. They really miss Robert Williams. They really miss him. Embiid basically dominated on the backboard last night, even though they handled Philly and they essentially just outscored them. But they really miss Robert Williams. They miss his rim protection. They miss his paint presence. You know, they miss his ability to rebound and speed the game up even more for them. I thought that they did a good job last night in speeding the game up and making Philly defend in transition, which Philly just could not do. I mean, they outscored Philly in transition. I think it was 27-9. And that was largely due to them playing defense. Now, their defense needs a lot of work. No question about that. Boston's defense needs a lot of work. But I think that was their ability. That's what enhanced their ability to speed the game up. Basically holding Philadelphia to one shot and get going. Forcing Philadelphia into turnovers. And Philly got stagnant when James Harden, who we know who James Harden is with his ability to just pound the ball. And when he pounds the ball isn't moving. When the ball isn't moving, that means that we can load up. That's not that difficult to guard. I thought that the Celtics could have been more disciplined in fouling jump shooters because, you know, when you fouling guys like James Harden, who that's his game. He's looking for that. He's looking to get fouled to go to the stripe, particularly on the long ball. He's looking to get fouled to go to the stripe and to put your defense in a bad space. And I thought he did a good job in doing that. But I watched Embiid and I'm thinking to myself, is this it? Because Embiid also falls in love with the long ball line. And I don't understand why his game isn't more in the mid post, not necessarily on the box, because I don't think he wants to play down there as much. I think he could be more dominant down there than he knows, but I don't understand why his game isn't more in the mid post and on the box. Because when he's coming down, a lot of the guys that are covering him, they basically are letting him shoot the long ball. You want to shoot the long ball, you can shoot the long ball all night. Because essentially what he's doing when he does that is he's letting the defense off the hook. He completely lets the defense off the hook when he does that. As opposed to when he gets into the mid post, that 10 to 12 foot range, where he's even more effective. And getting on the backboard as well to speed the game up. But when he speeds the game up and he gets out in transition to stop and pop at the long ball line, I think he lets the defense off the hook. And I think that that's something that has to change. I think that James Harden did a good job in getting other guys involved. I watched Tobias Harris, and Tobias Harris got a lot more open shots than he would have before last season. with James Harden. James Harden created a little bit more offense for him. And I think that those open shots that Tobias had, I think that he's going to be able to knock those down more this year simply because, he's not used to having wide open shots like that. That's why I'm looking at this group and I'm thinking in the regular season, it's going to be different with Philly simply because now you got James Harden for the whole season. Him and Embiid get to connect and get to work off of each other for the entire season. I would like to see the basketball move a little bit more with Philadelphia because I think that you let the defense off the hook when you're essentially pounding the ball and you're just not moving it. You have the defense right in front of you, and they don't really have to do much except just watch you because nobody else is moving because the offense is watching you too. Your offense in particular is watching you. So I think that needs to change, and hopefully Doc will clean that up. Like I said, I really miss Robert Williams on that defense. Watching that Boston Celtic team and seeing how Embiid basically just attacked the backboard, they really miss Robert Williams in the interior. And even though they won last night, I think that that's something that they're going to struggle with moving forward because, you can't just outquick everybody. That's not going to work because you're going to run into teams that have bigs, not only that have other people who rebound and gang rebound at a high rate, like the Miami Heat, like Cleveland, just in like Milwaukee, just to name a few teams that gang rebound. So I think that that's going to be a problem for them. When I talked about guys improving, that handle still doesn't look sharp for Jaylen Brown, man. It still looks like it's wide. It still looks like it's all over the place. Don't get me wrong. I think that his mid-range has gotten better, and he looks like he's smarter. But I'd like to see that handle get a little tighter because that's where the turnovers come in. And I'm not just talking about turnovers once in a while. I'm talking about big turnovers where he's in transition because that's where a lot of his work is, either in transition or one-on-one. And if that handle was tighter, I think that he'd be so much more efficient. So much more efficient. I thought they got some really good minutes out of Malcolm Brogdon. I think the key with him is him staying healthy because he's going to continue to give them good minutes. Derek White also. And Grant Williams came off the bench and gave them some great minutes. I look at that Boston Celtic team, and I still think that they're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, right at 1 or 2 or 3. I don't think that they're better than Milwaukee, but I think that they're at the top of the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia, I think that this Eastern Conference is going to be one of the best Eastern Conferences that I've seen in a long time. Philly's still got a lot of work to do. Since we're on the subject of a lot of work to do, man, that Laker team last night, Golden State just essentially handled them. And the difference in that game was in the third quarter. We all know who the Golden State Warriors are, quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 4. But we absolutely know who they are in quarter 3. You know that the barrage is coming after halftime. You know it is. You know that their defensive intensity is going to get picked up. You know that their offense is going to get picked up. You know that they're going to speed the game up. We know that. And with knowing that, you would think that teams would be more prepared, but they're not. And last night, the third quarter was the difference in that game. The Lakers had 21 turnovers for the game. 8 of them came in the third quarter. That's a 30 of turnovers right there. And this team is not good enough to shoot the long ball 40 times. They're not. This team is not good enough to shoot the long ball 40 times. When I'm watching them, everything is either at the long ball line or it's going to the basket. There's nothing in between. And when there's nothing in between, what that does is that shrinks the defense. They don't have to cover. Everything is crowded in the basket because you don't have anything going on in the mid-range. And we already know that you can't shoot the long ball. So because you can't shoot the long ball and you don't have anything going on in the mid-range, the defense is shrunk. So that definitely has to change. Russ wasn't bad last night. Contrary to popular belief, Russ was not bad last night. No, he was not. I don't love James shooting the long ball like he did. Don't get me wrong. He essentially took the long ball and put it in his game to further his career. Because he knew for a fact that if I don't, I'm not going to stick around that long. But what he does is he falls in love with the long ball. Kind of like Jason Tatum, he'll fall in love with the long ball and he'll shoot shots that aren't necessarily in his arsenal like that. And it's to his detriment. Same thing with Anthony Davis. And I understand how big a deal the long ball is today. Yes, I do understand that. However, there's a time when to shoot the long ball, or there's also a time when to recognize when you don't have it going and I got to do something else. So, when James starts and goes 0 for 5 on the long ball, I got to get something else going. And he did do that when he started going to the basket. And that opened up some more of his game. That's when that mid-range game has to get more involved. Same thing with Anthony Davis. Contrary to popular belief, I was encouraged by the defensive intensity, and that came from Pat Bev. Pat Bev sparked the intensity for them defensively. And I think that moving forward, I think that they're going to be a better team defensively. But as far as them being able to shoot the long ball, I don't like it at all. That mid-range, there's a huge gap with this team. A huge gap between shooting the long ball and going to the basket. There is nothing in between. And because there's nothing in between, these guys aren't going to be effective at all. I'll tell you who was effective. The Golden State Warriors. They didn't surprise me, even though I thought the Lakers would beat them, because I thought that the holdover from the ring ceremony, I thought that all the festivities would have basically drowned Golden State, but it didn't. In fact, what it did was it enhanced them. When I watch Golden State, I'm not surprised by them at all. Their action off the basketball, them moving the basketball, them moving without the ball, them in transition, they looked so comfortable with getting whatever it is that they wanted when they wanted to get it. Even though the Lakers picked up their defensive intensity, the Golden State Warriors didn't look like at any point we can't get whatever we want out here. And moving forward, that tells me that that's championship pedigree right there. I thought that they did a good job in chasing Curry off the long ball line, but I think a lot of the shots that he got, he would normally make those, and he missed them. I thought they did a good job on Jordan Poole, too. I thought that they did a good job on him, but I thought that his shot selection was one that needed to change. I thought that he could have gotten some better looks. Draymond looked really good last night. He did. And I think we really undervalue how important he is. I think we underrate how important his value is. No doubt about it, we do. Klay looked sharp. This Golden State Warrior team, I've said it before the season started, I think that the road to the NBA championship goes, in the Western Conference at minimum, the road to the NBA championship goes through San Francisco. If you try to get to the finals, you got to go see those dudes. They're going to be a lot to deal with moving forward. A lot. And I'm looking forward to the season. And it's great to be back. It's great to see you guys. So we'll be doing this all season. But until then, take it light, but take it.